Just want to start this episode by saying George Harrison threw up in a hotel room and they called it the thing and they decided not to clean it up and they just pointed and laughed at it and they just kept it there. They just called it the thing.
That's one of my favorite stories that I read the other night. And the My Sweet Lord was used as a torture song in Chile, apparently, which is also a crack up and also very true as well, according to the iceberg um that I read anyway. Anyway, hello Matthew.
Literally.
Hello everyone else. Welcome to hopefully a better condition tier list episode than the Metallica one that we made, because it was pretty annoying that it was all corrupted and whatever else, dancing around like
Yeah.
we were bloody possessed on the screen. So I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, that's probably not we thought that's probably not what everyone wants to see. So
It was a
hopefully
bit of
this
an
one's
eyesore. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought we'd replace our mugs with other mugs. So today we are talking about arguably the best band ever to exist. Definitely my favorite band ever to exist. I don't know about you. What are your thoughts on the Beatles?
On Nickelback, Beatles.
Close
No,
second.
I
Close
do.
second.
Close like it's right there.
Yeah.
Spoilers for our top 10 favorite bands. What was I gonna say? Yeah, Beatles is one of my favorite bands of all time, and obviously they're icons, and everything about the Beatles has already been said. Like they've been such an influence on music and pop culture, and they'll just be forever legendary. And it's the Beatles, man. Like can't go wrong. It's the goddamn
Absolutely.
Beatles.
A band that up until I started listening to them it was 2009 actually. That's when I remember Dad bought the box set of
Mm,
the Beatles. Like he bought
yeah,
that black box set that everyone would recognize.
yeah.
We got into that then. Before that, I thought the Beatles were, I don't know, just one of those old bands. Yeah, okay, your grandparents listen to them, whatever else, but they are genuinely so much more than that. And I'm really glad
Yes.
that I am one of those people that do appreciate them and
Yeah.
love them for their full discography. They made a lot of changes, mostly good, I would say, and I guess that's what we're here to explore today. What is
Yeah.
good and what is possibly not. So I have put together
Yeah.
another tier list. Thanks to Matt, I have found one already that did exist. I just had to put Yellow Submarine in there. Some people might not want that in there, but it is an official studio album, and we are going to be, I what's the word? Uh,
Discussing
yeah,
or ranking it. Whatever you call
yep,
it.
yep. So all I had to do was put in my customized names of the list and chuck Yellow Submarine in, and here we go,
I'm I'm so
ready to
excited
go.
to see him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. It's more. I wanted it to be extremely accurate, like 1 through 5. I
Okay.
wanted each level to be accurate based on, yeah, evidence and actual facts of the
I
band.
swear, if you done F as 86 bus driver again, that'd be genius. Just every time it's just 86 bus driver.
It'd be really interesting. Would that, if Cliff didn't die that day, would oh no, Metallica came after the Beatles. Never mind. I thought would
Yeah, I
the
was
would the I was about to say, would the Beatles even exist if Cliff Burton didn't die?
gonna make that a quote. Yeah, have your face in the clouds. Just would the Beatles exist if Cliff Burton didn't die? Jordan 2K24.
What have I
Dumbass.
what have I done? What have I done? I'm just glad I stopped talking, but then I actually said what I was going
It's
to
too
say
late.
anyway. So
Yeah, you just kept going. Just dug the grave and buried it.
bloody hell, bloody hell. Rightio, let's get into it.
Let's
So
get this do it.
fingers crossed. This is not going to corrupt and make us look like
Yeah.
absolute idiots. Okay, sharing screen. Can you see
Excellent.
stuff?
Yes.
You can see stuff. Okay,
Beatles Yellow Submarine JPEG.
that's proof, I guess, that I chucked it in later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually first I'm going to show that I've put everything in chronological order once again, just to make it easier on us.
Yeah,
So then we can look at what's to come, and I guess if we use that as a bit of a ranking system, we do that. But what I'm going to do is scroll up really fast, so then hopefully you don't see any of them
I'll
up
just look
until the
away.
first
Yeah,
one. Well,
scroll.
that won't work for everyone else either. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the first one here. So if you want to take a look,
Oh yeah,
can you see it?
it's fair enough. Yeah, Importance of George
Yep,
Martin and Brian Epstein.
yep. I've also put it
Absolutely.
in a disclaimer as well. Last time there were heaps of ads everywhere, so I thought this time there'll be less ads here. There's just the one down the bottom here and up the top as well, so that's
Yeah.
fine. I'll take that. This obviously won't be involved when we've got it on the whole screen. But yeah, importance of George Martin and Brian Epstein. I couldn't think of anything funny to put in this tier. I did also want to give credit where credit is due as well.
That's
These
fair.
two were majorly crucial. I feel like the Beatles would not have been the Beatles that we know if it wasn't for these
Absolutely.
guys.
Absolutely.
Just the
Yeah.
the management skills of Brian and how much of an impact he had that the Beatles, one of the like it's widely discussed that one of the points of them breaking up was because he died in
Yeah.
67, and then that kind of carried on a chain of events of them not really being together.
Yeah.
And just the genius of George Martin and his add-ons to their music and whatever else. Okay. Actually, let's close that. What happens? Oh,
There we go.
bye bye
Perfect.
ads. Beautiful. Okay. So that is S tier. That is the best of the best. Hopefully there are a few albums that we can put in there. The Beatles' reliance on drugs. Very important in their go away. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So they, I was doing a bit of reading, and I didn't actually realize how into them they were. Dude,
Yeah.
these guys, they lived on them. I
Yeah.
read that in Hamburg, which is also we forgot that it was Hamburg in a couple episodes ago as well. I think we said something else. We did not say Hamburg in Germany. That's where the Beatles were. That's where they went in Europe. Um,
Oh, with the thing.
yeah,
Oh, I was wondering what on earth you're referencing.
no, because I don't know what we said, but we did not say Hamburg. So just wanted to
I just
clarify
said it was in
that.
the hotel room. I didn't know. I was just going what you told me.
No, as in we like they traveled to perform somewhere outside
Oh,
of
yeah.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's early days, yeah.
yeah. They needed pick me ups, so they had constant pick me ups throughout the entire time in Hamburg. Apparently, as soon
Bloody
as
hell.
as soon as they met Bob Dylan, they got onto pot.
Yeah.
They got onto LSD fast. I think George and John had little sugar cubes of mix that were laced with them, and they put them
It's-
in Paul and Ringo's tea and
oh
coffee.
my God.
Apparently, yeah, they just drugged everyone, and I found out that John and Yoko were hooked on heroin in the later days of the Beatles too,
Wow. That doesn't
and
surprise me because if you watch the Get Back documentary, John looks pretty tired in some of them. And there's actually a couple of times, I know there's at least one time he goes to reach into his pocket and then he sees the camera and he reaches out and everyone's like, was he looking for like an LSD tab or something like that? Like
oh no way,
he goes to it, he
yeah,
sees the camera, goes, oh, no, better not now.
yep.
It's a good shot of
Um,
that.
yeah, seriously a problem, seriously a problem.
Yeah.
Paul was hooked on cocaine as well regularly. Apparently,
Yeah.
the entire year span of Sergeant Pepper's coming out, he was a cocaine addict. From what I read, and as well
Workaholic.
as the constant cigarettes that eventually led to George Harrison's lung cancer.
Dying. Yeah.
Um, Obviously that was an issue as well.
Yeah.
Constant
Because it wasn't
teas
Paul
and
busted for,
drinking,
wasn't Paul busted with pot, was it Japan?
probably. I'd say so.
At
Yeah,
the airport, they busted him and they charged him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that does
Yeah,
sound accurate.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. And obviously the psychedelics of Sergeant Pepper's and Revolver.
yeah,
I feel like the albums would be a lot different if it wasn't for that.
and Magical Mystery Tour.
Oh, yes, majorly. Okay. So that is slightly below S tier because obviously it wasn't all to do with drugs. They still had their musical genius and the help of these two guys up here. Obviously, it wasn't solely relying on drugs, obviously, but drugs were definitely a big part of their musical journey, I guess you could say. All right, average tier. Mark David Chapman's Aim. 5 bullets. It took him 5 bullets to kill John Lennon. That is not
I
any
think
trained killer would only take him one or two.
I think did only three of them hit him, or two of them hit him. The others missed.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're
It was
right.
two or three. I can't remember. I want to say it was three. I think hit him, and the other two missed.
He's got some very average aim. Average because I feel like that would be what normal people would take to kill someone like standing 2 meters away from him. Um, and the rest is history, obviously. Ringo's musical success outside of the Beatles is below average. If it wasn't for Thomas the
Yeah,
Tank Engine and making appearances at George's
uh,
wedding and George's funeral, um, yeah, I feel like he would not be relevant. And his
yeah,
occasional posts on Twitter.
yeah. Of his feet.
Yeah,
Um, I was about to say as well. I think he was more successful with Thomas the Tank Engine than his music. I feel
he had
your
he had
Fat Controller.
he had a couple of early '70s albums that were respected, but not really much else. He had a song
I
called
don't.
Liverpool 8 as well. That is a pretty good song.
I was just about to say. I don't think I could even name your Ringo song
Yellow Submarine.
outside of the Beatles.
Oh, well, there we go.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say Ringo songs. I can be like, okay, Octopus's Garden, Act Naturally, yeah, Yellow
Yeah.
Submarine, which I'll get onto that song later on.
And Yoko, oh no. uh
Okay,
yeah. I think it's I don't know I don't know if it is a hot take anymore to say that Yoko was the main reason the Beatles broke up. I've read a lot of things that saying she was irrelevant to the demise, but I think that she played a big part, making just those later days so awkward. She was just joint at the hip to John, just not giving them any privacy as
I,
a band.
I don't. I won't completely blame her, but it was definitely John was losing interest in music because of her. But I also
Yeah,
think it was they sort of felt they had done everything. So let's move on.
yeah,
Because when you watch the
yeah.
Get Back documentary, you can really tell they're four solo artists now. Well, three, but you can tell like they're their own.
Three and Thomas,
Yeah, free and the fat conductor, um,
Fat Controller.
fat controllers. Shit. I'm really sick. Anyway, um, yeah, I think I had a bit of both, but you could definitely see like George is his own thing, John's his own thing, Paul's his own thing, Ringo's there for a vibe, but yeah. God,
Yep.
this is a Ringo hating episode. I love it.
It is actually. I
Even
feel
though
like
he's like,
he's least deserving of hate as well in the
I
Beatles.
know.
I would argue.
I was gonna say he's like the most innocent. Oh, it's not. I'm say he's not the most innocent. I don't know if I want to bring all that up, but yeah, I do love Ringo's drumming. He's genuinely one of my favorite drummers.
Yep, yep. No, very very overlooked drummer, I would say. But then again, I feel like a lot of musicians these days do go back to Ringo all the time. So
Yeah,
it's hard to say if he's overrated or not as a drummer.
he's the richest drummer of all time. I know that's a fact.
Mm. Well, I think being in the biggest band in the world
But yeah,
definitely helped.
yeah,
But
definitely
yeah.
helped. Yes.
Okay,
All
should we
right,
get onto it?
let's get into it. Yeah, please me. The debut. Um,
What do you reckon?
my brain just shut down. Fucking Windows XP over here. Da-da-da-da. I would place this in Mark David Chapman's Aim. I think it's
Okay.
average.
I
I
think that
do
is
like it.
quite fair.
Yeah, I do like it. It's very, how do I put it? I don't know, it's like, I guess if we compare to the rest of the discography, I would say it's like a very innocent album because it's them trying to work it out in the studio. And I believe they recorded this album in like one day, or like 3 days. I
Mm.
think it was one day because I know they tell the story of when they did Twist and Shout. It was one of the last songs they did, and John Lennon's vocals were that they were just gone, and that's why his vocals are so raspy on that song because they were just shot. Um, but I actually really love John's vocals on Twist and Shout.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep.
even though they're raspy as hell. But there's some songs on, like I really like. I like, I Saw Her Standing as a great opener. Please Please Me, of course. Love Me Do, like that.
Mm.
That's the song that really put them. One of the first songs that really put them on the map. Um,
Absolutely.
so there's a
I
lot. There's a few.
agree.
Sorry.
No, I was just about to say I agree with you in overall. Actually, I listened to this album 2 days ago because obviously we needed to freshen up on everything before we recorded this, and genuinely, I actually enjoyed it. I think it's I and as I was watching 64 last night, as I was telling you about earlier, the new documentary that just came out, and everyone on like they were just going around asking random people in the crowd what they thought of the Beatles, and they thought we've never seen anything like them before. Even even though they sounded like the typical 60s kind of artist, they definitely had their quirks and their take on the music itself that made them stand out. And I feel like this album was definitely a revolutionary piece of music when it came out.
Yeah, I think what else also helped them is at the time it was a lot of solo artists. You had Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, you had Fats Domino. It was all solo artists. Whereas Beatles came out as a group, which were nowhere near as common at the time.
Yep,
So I
exactly.
think that had the uniqueness. You know,
I am fine
uh,
putting this in Mark David Chapman's here, which I never thought I'd say in my life, but but it is going to go there because we both agree.
yeah,
As far as Beatles albums go, it is average. I agree. I
yeah.
it's never one that I would go to amongst the masses,
Oh
but
no,
I've
no,
got full respect
yeah,
for it as groundbreaking back in the day,
yeah.
and
But
just
I
pure
do,
entertainment as well.
yeah, I do, like, yeah, I do like the album, but it's compared to what's coming up, it's middle of the road.
Yep, yep.
Um,
Second that one
with the Beatles,
with the Beatles. Hmm.
um, not as fond of this album as Please Please Me. I think there's just too many covers than originals on here. I want to say about like almost half the album is just covers, and I just
Yeah,
rather listen to the original stuff. Which I
I
get because
re-
this also came out in '63, and pumping out two albums every year. Like obviously the player were like, look, can't write enough. Let's throw some covers in here. So I understand that was sort of the cheat to it.
yep.
But I sort of listened to it, and then when they hear the cover, I'm like, yeah, it's a cool cover. But I want to hear, a Lennon because the Lennon McCartney originals I do like on this, but then a cover comes up. I'm like, well, I want the
Mm.
original. I'm here for the Beatles, not for a Chuck Berry cover.
Yeah,
So
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I personally don't think I don't have any problem with them playing covers because I guess that was a way of them showing respect to
yeah.
the original artists. Um,
Yeah. And it's how they
yeah,
started out as well, I think.
yeah, exactly. They play a lot of
Yeah.
covers. I do agree that they should have it would have been better if they weren't covers, but I feel like holding against them the fact that they did a lot of covers on this album might be a bit tough. But I do agree that the I don't know if you've said this before, but I don't think the quality is as good as Please Please Me in
Yeah.
general.
No. I yeah, this is one of my least listened to Beatles albums.
Right. Okay.
Like I like this. There's some songs on here. It won't be long. The opening track and oh my
Till
god, I'm
There
gonna
Was You
mess.
is I love Till There Was You. That's genuinely one of my favorite Beatles songs, actually.
Yeah, yeah, I do like that one as well.
Um, just it just sounds like your classic Beatles. It sounds like I think this one is more similar to other artists at the time,
Yeah,
which maybe the originality is lacking as what like as primarily as Please Please Me. So, do you
I
agree
put
with putting it here?
this. That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah,
Yep. Below average as a Beatles album.
yeah,
It's funny though. I'd still rather listen to this than a lot of other artists from albums from artists that I like as well.
yeah. That's
But
true.
then again,
I was gonna say, funnily enough, I think people parody the album cover more so than actually probably talk about the album,
yeah, yep.
which I find
It's
kind of funny.
the Simpsons have parodied it. Well, I mean they've
Yeah,
parodied everyone, so I guess that's not really
yeah.
okay. Hard Day's Night.
Out of the earlier Beatles stuff, this is one of my favorites. I really, really like Hard Day's Night. This is the first album I did where it's completely all originals.
Yep.
Um, so that's part of the fact of, like I said before, it's like I want to hear Beatles stuff. I want to hear George's stuff. I want to hear Lennon and McCartney getting together. So, um, really, really like this album. There was a period of time where I consider this my favorite early Beatles album, and I still do. I think might be my favorite. It's a toss up between this and Play Rubber Soul as the for early, because I probably consider Rubber Soul the end of the early stuff and Revolver the later stuff. Just play where I do the split. Um,
I think
but
the split for me is in between Help and Rubber Soul. I think Rubber Soul's the first of like kind of their mid tier. I think mid era. I think the Beatles have
middle
three
one,
eras personally, early, mid, late. But
yeah,
I can't argue with Rubber Soul being not
yeah.
early. I mean that's
I think a part of it as well is I think after Rubber Souls where they stopped touring as well.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night.
I really, really, really like this album. Um, and I love the movie that's also attached to this as well. It's so silly, and the acting they're doing is so bad. That's like part of the charm as
Yeah,
well.
yep. I think it's
Um,
their best. It's their best movie, definitely.
yeah, yeah. What's the only one I've seen? I haven't seen in the Help or Magical Mystery Tour or even Yellow Submarine movies. So
Really?
I haven't seen them.
Okay. Actually, Yellow Submarine is the only one I haven't seen because we were watching it as a family, and I think I spilled a beer on the rug or a carpet. I was walking past and spilt my dad's beer, and
Oh no.
yeah, and let's just say from there the night didn't go as planned. Um, so and since then I actually haven't finished it. So that's something that's something that maybe we should get onto
This is
into watching it.
you you're too traumatized to go
Too
back and watch it.
traumatized. Yeah,
The
Help
blue me the
is
blue that became a blue meanie.
yeah. The whole second side of Yellow Submarine album is dedicated to him. Hard Day's Night, yeah, I agree. It's I like this as well. I think If I Fell is one of George's most underrated Beatles
Yeah,
songs. It's
yeah.
got And I Love Her. That's great as
Yeah, I
well.
was about to say I think my favorite on this album is "And I Love Her."
Yeah,
It's a very beautiful song. Um, where would I put it?
it is tough.
It's because Chapman's aim is too low, but Reliance on Drugs feels too high.
It does. It does.
So I would probably push more towards. Well, ironic because I don't think they were doing the drugs at this point, but I'd probably push more towards Reliance on Drugs because I do really like it. But it's probably as we go along, probably be bottom of that list, I feel.
I would probably safely assume that with what's to come.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like sometimes, and I take what I'm saying lightly as well. Sometimes these three albums are identical in the way of they do still sound like early Beatles and anything else that came out at the time, with that with just that slight little twist on the songs, with the twist that the Beatles made on music. Um, so I feel like sometimes it is hard to differentiate between them. If I was to randomly hear I'll Cry Instead of Hard Day's Night, I
Yeah.
would have to go, which album was that on again? And then
Yeah.
if I thought about it.
That's very fair. Yeah.
So for that reason, I would like to bring it down a tier, but definitely put it in front of Please Please Me because I think it is definitely a better album and more iconic than Please
Oh
Please
yeah.
Me.
I'm happy with that.
Um,
That's fair.
are you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's
I
on
wasn't
that
even saying it as
cusp.
a yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because it's right
definitely.
on that cusp. But it's just like but the thing is it's not even average. It's like I'll just say it's just really good.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but because this is as you said, David Chapman's aim is average. It wasn't very good, but so well, I mean,
yeah. Well,
the
exactly.
thing I guess it was somewhat good because unfortunately he was successful in the anyway.
Rest in peace, John.
Yeah.
Right, Beatles for Sale,
Beatles for sale.
an album I know that you love. You're fond of this album.
Oh, absolutely! It's my favorite Beatles album. I love it so much. I don't even listen to the other albums. Yeah, no, this is but oh yeah, yeah. Jeez, yeah, absolutely, mate. No, yeah, I don't really like this album all that much. There's a few songs on here I do like. I like No Reply, I'm a Loser, 8 Days a Week, of course. 8 Days is like the most iconic one on here. Mr. Moonlight, I don't mind, but I don't know. This is the only Beatles album that just has never clicked. It
Really?
just I don't. It just I very very rarely listen to it. I have no interest in it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Something about this album just doesn't do it for me. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
so
tough to hear. I've loved this album, but I've always loved this album.
yeah, nah, it doesn't. No, yeah,
I think it's hard. I honestly think it's Hard Day's Night 2.0, except with covers. So it's kind of a cross between with the Beatles and Hard Day's Night. It's kind of if you oh no, that's actually that no, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. It's the first this is the first album where the originals definitely had some evolution to them.
mm,
Songs like what you're doing, that song would not be on any of the previous albums because I feel like that is a step up in the Lennon McCartney songwriting. Personally, a song like that,
no,
No Reply,
I do
the
like No
song sound
Reply.
the song sounds slightly different to Hard Day's Night in a good way, in my opinion. And I actually really like the covers on this album as well.
Yeah, like there's a few songs I do like, but
Yeah.
overall, I this is gonna be very harsh. I would personally throw this in the Yoko Ono tier.
Come on.
I really don't like it. Like I said, there's a few songs I do, but I no, I don't know what it is. I just don't like this album.
What about Words of Love? Like one of their best covers. That genuinely, I mean this. That was my favorite Beatles song at one point in time.
The album doesn't do anything for me. I've given it
What?
many chances. I don't know how many times I've listened. I wanted to say 4 or 5, 6 times. It'd be around there. I've listened to
What
this, and
about
it just
I'll Follow the Sun? What about a song like that?
they don't do anything for me.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. They just don't. I listen to it. I'm like, yep. I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
I we might have to agree to disagree here then. I would have put it in Mark David Chapman's Aim. So are you fine with putting it in
Split the
Ringo?
difference. Yeah, we'll split the difference because I feel
I'll
I
even be
probably am being
nice.
a bit harsh, but
I'll even be nice. This is definitely not where I'd want to
Y-
put it, but I'll at least put it behind with the Beatles then for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say I much rather listen to with the Beatles. I
Really? No way.
I
No. Never.
if you gave me Beatles for sale with the Beatles, I'd rather listen to with the Beatles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's probably one of my hottest takes of this whole thing, but I don't know what it is. I just this album's
Well,
never clicked. Hopefully it does one day, but it just never has.
I suppose that's why we're here, isn't it? For hot
Yeah,
takes. That's fine. I mean, as I said, I don't agree, but I suppose we are different after all. There we go.
yeah. But an album I do really like, Help. Really, really do like this album. This is another step up for them.
Definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
let's get this track list up
Oh,
here.
majorly a step up.
Um,
This is the perfect transition album between early stuff and the later stuff.
absolutely, yeah.
Hard Day's Night, Rubber Soul.
One of my favorites on here. You've got the Hide Your Love Away, which is probably John Lennon just trying to be Bob Dylan, which I love. It does sound like a Bob Dylan song, but I
Tambourine in
do
there.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. Good old Ringo. I love the video clip. It's just Ringo like sitting in the background, just like
Yeah.
just awkwardly up the back.
It works though. I
Um,
mean, just like anything Ringo does, like it fits the
yeah.
song. It works so
Well,
well.
it's but he contributed more to that than in the Help music video where he sat at the back of the bike just holding an umbrella. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think my personal favorite on this, oh, I mean, yesterday's on here, but I think I really, really like Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to
That
Ride's a great
song
song.
is great. I really like the drums on this. It's so weird. Like the timing of the drums is just really odd, and I really like that
Yeah.
because it's like when he hits the rack tom, it's like ever so slightly delayed. You got to like boop, bap, boop, boop, bap, boop. It's such an odd feel, but I love it.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I really, really do like this album as well. This is also one of my favorite early Beatles. I probably would place this between Hard Days and Please Please Me. I think
Really?
I think I like Hard Days Night just a bit more. It's tough,
I I
but
like Help more than Hard Day's Night.
mm,
This is my favorite album so far.
yeah, I don't blame you for that. It is great.
It
Ah,
just shows their
it's
evolution. Like
yeah,
at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, um, this is like they evolved so much since from the
yeah.
Beatles for Sale to this. Like this is
I will give the songwriting on this is definitely more, I guess, technical than on Hard Days Night. I will give it that.
the night
Um,
before, even
yeah,
yesterday, the most covered song in the world.
yeah,
Like how can you not?
yeah.
I
I
love
do wish that,
I've just seen a face as well.
yeah,
Sorry,
I do like
what
that
am I
as well.
say?
I was gonna say I kind of wish the album ended on yesterday because Dizzy Miss Lizzy is the only song I don't like on this album because the guitar lick I find to be really annoying. Oh, that's my head in. Oh, I'm sorry. It's generally the only song I don't like. Yesterday finishes and I pause. I'm like, yeah, that's the end of the album. Fantastic album.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't.
I can't.
You've got to listen
The
to it
lick
all.
is it's too annoying to have like a song as beautiful as yesterday to just like Jesus.
I don't blame you. I
Um,
mean, it's not my favorite Beatles song at all. It would
yeah.
be in Yoko tier for me personally as a
Yeah, oh
song.
absolutely. Stuff Dizzy Miss Lizzy. But the rest of the album is brilliant. I really did love the rest of the album. Um
So what are we going to do
oh,
then? Because
Texas
I
Rocket or some shit like
maybe we have to because I would put it here and you would put it here.
yeah.
I
Oh,
on a good day, I'd even put it here, to be honest.
I wouldn't even blame you for throwing it up there.
But thinking about
Um
it, I can't I can't put it up there. I'm thinking about the harmonies as well. Even though the Beatles are known for it throughout their entire discography, I would argue the harmonies, which is a crucial element of the Beatles' music, are superior on this album compared to Hard Day's Night.
I
But then again, that's
yeah.
I feel like that's a cheap thing to say because obviously the the as we keep talking about, the evolution of Help is better than Hard Day's Night. Like they evolved
Yeah.
more. I don't know, making myself bloody think and speak in tongues now.
I'm yeah, I keep like going back and forth on the songs on the albums, and it's so hard, but I I
Actually,
still
you know
yeah,
what?
I still think
I'm gonna be mean here because you put Beatles for Sale in an entire different tier.
oh
I'm just going to jump the gun and do this, and then we're going to call it even. How about that?
yeah, fine. I'll
Fine.
take it. That's
Okay.
fine.
All right. All right. Okay. Gives us an opportunity to move on anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. I think I personally prefer Hard Day's Night, but I don't. Yeah, it doesn't bother me that it helps there. That's fine
Okay. All
because
right.
it's because they are like so neck and neck. So
We'll do the we'll at the end we'll do the our
do our own personal ranking. Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Okay, Rubber Soul,
Rubber Soul, your favorite Beatles album. Spoilers if
currently
you've
my
not
favorite.
seen, somehow still not seen our favorite albums, but it's been out for a few weeks
Actually,
now.
honestly,
Um,
since I listened to the discography again over the last couple of days, I feel like it has changed, which is saying something.
I mean, that does happen a lot with the Beatles.
Oh, it's the band where it happens to me. It's
Yeah,
probably the only band where it happens to me, to be honest.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
I'm not taking
uh,
away that this is arguably their best.
yeah.
Arguably
I love this album. It's I would probably say it's probably I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I think the most beautiful songwriting they've did. Um,
easily,
is,
easily.
is on this album. It's just I would describe this album as beautiful. Drive My Car is a bit goofy, but the rest of the album is genuinely just like beautiful. Like Norwegian Wood's beautiful. In My Life is beautiful. Um, what else is on this? Like Nowhere Man, I even consider a beautiful song. Michelle, you know,
It's the
Girl,
first
you know,
it's the first album where they weren't writing love songs.
yeah,
It was a groundbreaking album
yeah.
in their music. So are we
Um,
gonna do we
uh,
have to debate this or
because I would have put it in Reliance on Drugs
really? Oh no.
because I just don't. I love this album a
How does that
lot,
look?
and it's a brilliant album, but I wouldn't. I don't think it's on that same level as some of these other albums that are coming out. Is why.
I just think the Beatles are a band where where they have so many good songs, so much good stuff
Yeah,
that I feel like it doesn't matter if there's so much in
yeah.
top tier.
Like,
But then again,
would
I
you would you say Rubber Soul's on par with Sergeant Pepper or Abbey Road? Like,
music wise,
yeah, I don't think Rubber Soul's on
well,
that level.
you're right. You,
Like,
I agree. Yeah,
yeah,
sadly, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like again, I love this album to bits. It's a brilliant album, but it's just not as it's just not as brilliant as like I said, Pipers or Abbey
I
Road.
I
Those
just
sort of
think it's
ones.
I just think it's such an important album though. Like in
It
there,
is.
if you this will always be my album that I would actually this or Help would be the album that I would show to someone for the first time if they had no idea about the Beatles.
Yeah,
It would be one of these two
yeah,
personally for me. Um, you know what? You've actually convinced me because looking ahead,
yeah.
it
I was
would
going to look at
be
what some of the albums are coming up. Like,
it would be unfair to put this in the same tier when there are still like songs like Wait or What Goes On. I mean, great songs, but yeah, I mean, not
are they on par with
yeah.
Within You, Without You? something. Here Comes the Sun. You know, are they on that level? Yeah.
No, you've convinced me. You've convinced me.
So yeah,
Will always be one of
but
my favorite albums though.
yeah,
But
same here. I love it to bits, but it's like just shy for me.
well,
Uh,
what about Revolver? What about their
Revolver, I, without even thinking about it, throw it straight to the importance of George and Brian. Without even thinking about
this
it, it's genius album.
this is
It's
their most
trippy. It's
important album.
weird. Yeah. I love every single song on this except for Yellow Submarine, which is my
I was going
least
to
favorite.
predict
It's
it.
my least favorite Beatles song. I cannot listen to it. I find the song annoying, and I just really wish it was not on this album because I wish I could be like it's a perfect album, but that song's on there, so I can't say that. Every
Honestly,
time I listen to
yep,
Revolver, I
I
skip it.
question that as well. I actually question that why they decided to do that. But then again, this album is their most experimental at the same time. So
Yeah, like
I can understand why they put it on there.
it's sandwiched between Here, There, and Everywhere. And she said, like there's such beautiful songs, but in between that, you just go. It's just like what the fuck. It's just like it's just such a I don't know. It's just such a jarring song on the album. Like every other song, like blends so well and fits so well on this album, and then there's just that, and it's just
Mate,
I don't
it's
know.
Ringo's magnum opus. It's bloody
Jesus. I'd rather watch the entire series of Thomas the Tank Engine than listen to Yellow Submarine once.
wow. Wow. Okay, well, I know what song I would recommend for any Chilean prison to have on
Yeah,
on repeat for you
dude,
then.
dude. If I was, yeah, if I was, if they captured me and they wanted information, and I'm like, no, you're not getting it, and they play Yellow Submarine, I'd be like, whatever you want, I'll tell you everything.
Take it all, take it all, take it all.
Take everything. Take my kidneys. Go for it. I don't care. I didn't think about this.
I do listen to this out. I know every like you know how in some songs, not just the Beatles, but any song that you really like or know very well, you can kind of quote every like even the instruments, like the vocals and that.
Yeah,
This is a song where I know word from word like everything that happens in it. If I listen to it, I can sing and like hum along to the melody or the instruments or the or the words.
yeah.
It's just one of those songs. But anyway, I feel like we're talking too much about the one song
One
that you're
song
right.
compared to the others, but the rest of the
Potentially
album,
doesn't
like
really belong.
Taxman, yeah, but the rest of the album is brilliant. I love Taxman. Eleanor Rigby. This is a spoiler for if we do songs, but Eleanor Rigby is my favorite song of all time. It just really changed the way I viewed music because I was just, at the time so into thrash metal. Because I used to not really, I think we talked about this. I used to not really be into the Beatles. I remember you pushed so hard for me to get into them. You
It
got me
took
to
you a
listen to a
while.
few of the, yeah. He took, I think he got me like you said, like Help and Hard Days Night. I listened to them, and I'm like, well, this isn't thrash metal. Like this isn't smashing the E string at 200 BPM. Like what's this Hard Days Night? I love you shit. And then I remember your final Hail Mary was Revolver. You're like, give it Revolver again. You go, if you don't like Revolver, I give up. And I'm like, okay. Taxman came on. I was like, yeah, that was all right. And then Eleanor Rigby hit. And I was like, whoa,
Mm,
wow. Like, what a tune.
yep.
And it's just Paul and some strings. It's not a complicated song. And it just genuinely changed how I looked at music. And I was like, wow, I'm looking at music in this like tunnel. Like, I'm looking at it in such a narrow thing. And it's like, you're allowed to just enjoy anything. Like, it just opened up my mind to just enjoy anything. So
Yep.
it's a
Absolutely.
very important song to me, and was the song that finally made Beatles click for me. So, um, but yeah, even then, like Good Day Sunshine is a fun song. Tomorrow Never Knows, I believe, is the first like song that had like backwards music in it because it's just like
Yep.
this looped reverse music, and it's got this really cool drum beat from Ringo. Um,
This album was very George Martin
yeah.
uh
Oh yeah.
produced. Like he had a lot of he had a lot of say on this album, which I think speaks volume of why he's in this tier.
Yeah.
Just yeah, no,
Yeah.
I yeah, 100% agree. This is easily their most experimental album at the same time, and almost their most important album because there's so much on there that had not been done before. Eleanor Rigby,
Yeah.
you mentioned, it was I'm pretty sure it's the first song that had strings as well as like it strings in a rock pop band.
Yesterday, brother.
Second song. It was regardless if I've got that right or not. It was never really done. No one, no one,
Yeah.
no one wanted to play around with that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's such a fun album. It's you listen to. I feel like it's one of those albums where you listen to it and you hear something new every single time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
much going
love
on.
this album. Yeah.
What about the next one?
Oh, Yoko Ono, trash album. This album sucks. Terrible.
Is it? Yeah. I mean,
Trash. Right. Moving on.
can we just soak this in?
Please, guys, it's so overrated. Imagine this being like one of your favorite albums of all time. Like, come on. Albums are rainbow. Um,
No, let's just do this
yeah,
because I
yeah,
as
no.
over uh, it, as
It's
overdone as a
overrated.
take,
It is brilliant though.
overrated in a way that is hard to explain why it's overrated, but
Yeah,
it's always on everyone's best album of all time list. Rolling Stone have it
yeah,
somewhere really high up there. Everyone
yeah,
always does. But
yeah,
is it is there any way that we could lower it down a tier? I don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah. I think because I think the importance of Sgt. Pepper is not only is the music phenomenal, but that album cover just allowed for the actual album cover to be something for people to look at. I mean, I also like the album covers for like Rubber Soul and even Revolver is like really, really cool. But I think Peppers was the
Yep.
one where people were like, oh, the album cover could be a focus as well, not just a promotional thing. Like if
Mm,
you look at like Please Please Me, and especially a lot of the albums at that time was usually just here is artist, here is the two hits plus 10 others. Like that was what a lot of album covers looked like at the time, and then they've gone
stereo,
and done
stereo,
yeah,
stereo.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has all that all over it. Like it was just basically just like, look, it's the thing. Take it. Whereas
Mm,
they with this album cover as well drew the focus of look at the album, like actually look at what's going on. And that album cover is one of those things like every time I look at it, I sort of see something different.
yep.
I see something new. Like it's one of those albums like you can look at that album cover for like 5-10 minutes easy
Mm,
and just sort of
yep.
really take in what is happening. Um, but my biggest, and I think you know what I'm about to say, biggest hot take is not the biggest fan of When I'm 64. It has grown on me over time, but yeah, I wish that either Penny Lane or Strawberry Fields Forever, because I know like they were this close to making it onto the album, and I
Mm.
kind of wish I could go back in time, go, hey, instead of When I'm 64, can you throw those two on there and like this? Oh my god.
I think it would have been, without a doubt, the best album of all time if
Oh
Penny
yeah,
Lane and
if
Strawberry
those two.
Fields were
Oh my
on there.
god. I think Strawberry Fields would probably be the better fit. Like I love Penny Lane, of
Yep.
course, but like the Strawberry Fields is like so odd.
Mm.
Like the rest of these songs, like if like Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite is sort of like on that same level of odd of Strawberry Fields.
Well, it's
Um
bloody a poster that they saw on a wall.
yeah,
I'm
for
pretty
like a
sure
circus or
the lyrics stem
something.
from
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, and he
exactly.
just was just referencing yeah, all the stuff that's on it. But yeah, other than When I'm 64 is my least favorite, but I would rather listen to When I'm 64 over most songs. So
Yep.
I can't be too
If
harsh.
it
And like I
wasn't
said, it has grown. So
if it wasn't for Revolver, Sergeant Pepper's would not exist, which is why I think Revolver is their most important album. But
correct.
but Sergeant Pepper's is probably arguably the most important album in musical history, and
One of them, yeah.
it is a big call to make. I mean, even people that don't like the Beatles will probably not like that opinion, but it's too bad. Honestly, tough.
Yeah,
This album is so experimental in a way that just it works. Everything clicked. Uh,
yeah,
the the production is insane as well. It's a concept album as well. Like what there weren't many concept albums back then, were there?
it might have been the first one.
1967. Yeah, honestly, it could have been. It could have
I can't
been.
even think of one before it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my personal favorite thing about this album is actually the way they recorded it because they only had
Mm,
4 tracks and they had to keep like they record a bunch of stuff on 4 tracks, but then they'd get the 4 tracks and then dump it onto one, and they would use like the second track. Then they would use like 2, 3, and 4 to record the other bits, and then you get 2, 3, 4, dump that onto track two, then use for it. Like to be doing that stuff on tape back then is just insane. Like I
that's
couldn't
what
even
they would
imagine
have
doing
had
something
to.
like that.
That's what they would have had to do with that final chord in Day in the Life, the final piano chord, because
Yeah,
it's isn't it like 10 pianos laid on top of each other?
something like that. Yeah, it's an E
Do
major. They all go. Bow, yeah.
yeah,
Can we? Yeah, can we talk about Day in the Life? What a tune! I love that song. That's
yeah,
also one of my favorite songs of all time.
yep,
But like I think I've
absolutely.
said this to you before of like I love that it's John being all deep in that, and then it's just John, then Paul just being like late for the bus. I don't know. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's so goofy.
yeah,
It's so Paul. Um,
yeah. Talking about some guy killing himself in his car, and then Paul's just like,
yeah.
"Fuck that!
I'm
I'm
like,
just waking up and going to work."
yeah, brushing my hair. I'm late for the
Yeah,
bus. I'll see you in seconds flat. It's just like what the.
yeah. And then John
Yeah,
finishes the song off as well, so it kind
yeah,
of layer. I don't. It's so strange, but
yeah.
it just
I love
it's
it.
so good. Yeah.
And I love because the strings in that song.
Yep.
Um, I think they were having issues of like the timing of it. And I think it was George Martin who basically said, all right, everyone, because I think they had to start, yeah, start low, go high. And I think his instructions were basically from this bar to this bar. So it's like from this bar, start on this note, and then at this bar, get to that note. But whatever speed you want to get there is completely up to you. And that's how
Yep.
they're able to get that weird, because some people want to go really fast, some people go really slow, you know. So it's
Who
just
was
like
doing
all these
that?
string.
Who was
Yeah,
doing
it's
that? And who also would have had the balls to do that back then,
yeah,
if not for the Beatles?
because I still get chills listening to those strings. It's
Hmm.
just like it's so eerie but so cool at the same time.
Yeah,
Because I
majorly.
remember the first time I was listening to it, like it was happening. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's about to happen?
Yep.
Like the anticipation killed me the first time I listened to it. I was like, oh my god, what the hell's about to happen? And then it's just woke
It
up, go out of bed. I was like, what?
yeah. And then the second time that they do it, it reaches the peak, and then it's silent for like two
Yeah,
seconds, 3 seconds,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
And then,
oh yeah,
oh, so good. And then this rings out, and then I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have. It's just this weird loop at the end as well.
yeah. Which again, no one was doing that either. Like
Yeah,
there's so many groundbreaking things
yeah.
about this album.
That's
George's
just the
Indian
one
phase
song.
that they brought over. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
within you, without you, one of
Even
his
though
best. I love that song.
George famously hated this album because didn't. What was the reason? Because he wasn't contributing as much, or because he wanted to go a completely different direction?
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but George was not fond of this album, and he's an absolute lunatic for it.
I mean, George was a
Maybe,
bit of a pessimist. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but oh no, we weren't there during the recordings, so
I
we
could
don't
talk
know
about
really.
I could talk about
Yeah,
this album forever. So
all
maybe we should
day.
move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
we could probably almost do like an episode on this album, honestly.
yeah, yeah. I'd be
But
down
yeah,
for
let's
that.
move on to Magical Mystery Tour, which is such a weird and wacky album, and I love it.
Kind of the
It's
B side of Sergeant Pepper's Leftovers.
yeah. I think you said that Revolver's probably the most experimental. I would probably argue this is the most experimental. But I don't blame you for saying Revolver's the most experimental. This album is just weird and I love it. Like a
Mm,
song like
yep,
Flying, Fall on the Hill. It's just talking about a bloke on a hill
I
and the
loved
music
Full
that
on the Hill
accompanies it.
back in the day.
Yeah.
I still do now,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I Am the Walrus. I am the Eggman. It's just what on what are you talking
It
about?
was it was the LSD talking, I think.
Oh,
It was
absolutely. I mean, look at the cover, brother.
yeah.
What is that? What is
Yeah.
like? Yeah, I do love the album cover. At the same time, it's just like Jesus.
I'm pretty
um,
sure this album as well, it was originally going to be the songs were recorded for the movie, but and then they didn't know what to
um,
do with them. It was around now when Brian Epstein died as well. He died before this album was released, and
yeah,
he kind of threw the band under the bus. So like, what do we do? Like, I don't know where do we? They were quite lost, I think, and they kind of just threw these songs together and released an album with them. As far
yeah,
as I know, I could be wrong with that, but
yeah. But it was Cliff that went under the bus, not the band.
uh, so Fall on the
Anyway,
Hill. Oh, this keeps coming out.
what she said. My AirPod just died as well.
That's what she said.
Actually, I can put it on charge. Actually,
Yeah, just do
um.
that. I
Anyway, edit out.
as you said previously as well. Also I love that we're like talking over each other a lot in this episode as well. We've just got so much to say, which is awesome
Yeah,
because as
this
if
is
you wouldn't
awesome.
have
Yeah,
a lot to say if you got stuff
yeah,
to talk about. I, as you said, I loved this album. It was my favorite back in the day. But then again, I feel like every album has had its shot of being my favorite.
yeah.
I don't know
I
what it
do
was
remember
about
for
this
a long
album.
time this was your favorite, and I don't blame you as well. It's just
It's
so weird.
primarily Penny Lane, Fool on the Hill, Magical Mystery Tour, Hello Goodbye,
Strawberry Fields,
Strawberry
yeah.
Fields.
All You Need Is
I
Love is a banger as well.
That's a good song. That's a good song.
Yeah,
It's a song that I don't like as much as a Beatles fan, but I respect it. I know
yeah,
that it is
yeah.
a great song.
It's
Um,
yeah.
what are your
Where would I
thoughts on
put
this?
this? That's exactly where I was going to put it.
Oh, was it?
That's
Okay.
exactly where I wanted to put it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I completely agree. I was whether I like
Rubber
it over
Soul is
Rubber
way more
Soul
of a
or
full
not
album.
is actually I think yeah. I don't know. I don't know which one to rather. I don't know. It doesn't bother me which way for these two, but I definitely want it on that level. Whether I listen to Rubber Soul or this album, I'd have to think about. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with being there.
I just think Rubber Soul is way more of a full album than Magical Mystery Tour is. I feel like Magical Mystery Tour is too disjointed. There's it's it's too random for it to be considered better than Rubber Soul, I think.
That's fair.
It's majorly all over the place with the track listing. I don't think it flows very well. It's more so the individual songs that are fantastic on this album, personally.
Yeah, I can take that. All right, the Big on White album. There's a lot to be discussed with this one. The Big
This
Double
is
album.
this is their most full album without a doubt. It's got so much. It's got every single genre, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
Double album as
30
well.
songs. Well,
Mm,
one I wouldn't consider a song. When you consider Revolution 9 a song. It's more a track.
it's a track, yeah.
Um,
I listened to it yesterday when I was driving to my bass lesson in the car, and I was really concentrating on it
hmm.
because I it's for obvious reasons. I would say this is my least played Beatles song.
Oh, yeah. It's not even a song. It's
Yeah,
just sounds.
it is sounds, but
I've
I don't know.
only,
It's cool.
yeah, I've only listened to it a few times, like all the way through. I usually skip it because I'm like, well, I want music, not this craziness. But
It
I
makes
do
sense.
like it.
Yeah,
I
yep.
it's one of those ones where yeah, because when I'm listening to it as an album, I kind of just want the tunes. But there's been a few times where I'm like, I want to experience the full thing, and the few times I have, I'm like, I understand why people dislike it because it's like, what the hell is this? Like, it's so weird. But I don't know. I like it. It's very, very different, and this whole album is just them just go on, let's just try different stuff. You know,
If you could only listen to Revolution 9 or Yellow Submarine
Revolution 9.
as really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I would rather listen to Revolution 9.
That's saying something. That is really
Yeah,
saying something.
Yellow Submarine is my least favorite Beatles song without a doubt, and it's probably one of my
Mm.
least favorite songs of all time. Like it'd
Oh,
be
that's a
top,
crack up.
like it'd probably be like top five or top three. I cannot stand that song whatsoever.
Mm.
I'd rather listen to what's that silent song where it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes 23, whatever it is, and it's just silent.
4
I'd
minutes
rather listen to
33,
that.
John Cage.
Yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
listen to that than Yellow Submarine.
I think that's a stretch, isn't it? Come on. That's a stretch and a half. Um, this is, I feel like the White Album is almost a compilation album in a way. It's not,
Yeah,
obviously, but I feel like there's so much on there. Like you've got the heaviness of Helter Skelter and Birthday, and then you've got Good Night. Like
yeah,
the range is like, and but there is so much in between as well. Piggies, like
yeah.
a song like Piggies.
Little piggies. It's just so
Yeah.
odd, but I love it. Yeah.
Savoy Truffle.
Blackbird is probably the biggest song on this.
I would,
Um
yep,
it's one of my
definitely.
favorite songs to play on guitar. Dear Prudence is awesome. Back in USR is a tune and a half.
The bass on
Oh,
this
but
album is underrated, I would say.
oh yeah. This is yeah, Paul rips on the bass on this album 100%.
Dear
Um
Prudence. Happiness is Warm
yeah.
Gun. Martha, My Dear. I love the piano in that. Oh,
Yeah. Did you learn that
uh,
at some point? Or was that like no, it was Lady Madonna.
no, it was Martha, My Dear. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yep.
my bad.
Yep. No, that's really fun to play.
Yeah.
And it's got a song. One of my hot takes is a song that I never. It's one of their biggest songs, one of their most popular, famous songs, respected songs. But it's not a song that I ever play while my guitar gently weeps.
Oh, brother.
I don't
Bro.
know.
I was just about to
Maybe
start praising that song.
it is a great
I
song, but it's just not a song that I, for some reason, I don't
that's
know.
one
It's
it's one of George's best.
no. I could name
Oh,
10 songs before that one personally.
wow.
That's one of the only hot takes that I am scared to talk about with the Beatles, to be honest. It's a great
Wow.
song. It's I've got
Yeah.
I can understand why it's respected. It's just not a song that I ever play. It's actually not. I've chosen like on. I've got a playlist going of like 600 songs at the moment of just songs that I love across all bands. It's actually
Yeah.
not on that playlist,
Wow.
which is saying something.
That's crazy. I for some
Over
reason
Depot
thought
Duh.
is that's just a wacky song, but I love it. That's another song I think the band wasn't really keen on, and I think fans are either hit and miss on it. I like it.
It's
It
even
was one.
got
It had
an
yeah.
error in it. Sorry, as well. It's got Desmond. Uh, what's the lyric? It's a repeat of the previous verse, but it was a mistake, and they kept it in there. Oh, I
Well,
can't
that's
remember the exact lyric.
Desmond. I can hear the song in my head, but I can't.
Desmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought. I'm just want to double check before I say it. Yeah, it's not on here. For some reason, I always thought the Long and Winding Road was on this album.
No. 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 No.
I don't know why I always thought that.
It's like
It feels
three
like a
three
song that
albums
would
off.
be. Oh, and it just seems like a song that would be on this album.
I know what you mean. I know
Um,
what you mean.
yeah. um,
They
where we
got
play.
they got their shit together for this album, didn't they? Like Sergeant Pepper's masterpiece, Magical Mystery Tour, Leftovers, still good.
Yeah,
But then the White Album, they really got
yeah,
back to the creative.
yeah. I, without a doubt, would throw this up in importance. I throw it right up the top.
I think there's just too much on it to not put it in that tier.
Yeah,
There's so much to choose from. I would put it
Um,
here though.
yeah, yeah. I think I'd rather
Are
listen
you?
to. No, I do agree because as much as I like the album, sometimes it can be a slog to listen to the entire thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes, like I don't think I've listened to the
Especially,
second half that much.
yeah. I was just about to
I've,
say the disc two is definitely the weaker of
yeah,
the discs, but
yeah,
it's still got some hits on there.
yeah. Because once I get to about your birthday, your blues, somewhere around there, I sort of go, all right, I could
Yeah.
probably turn this album off now.
It is.
I'm not. It's not because I don't like the second half. I love the second half. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
how long is it? The album's an hour and a half.
Hour and a
Watch
half.
a
Yep.
movie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I don't want to discredit it from that, but I think
I'm
yeah, if you
just
gave
really
me
glad
White
that they
Album
released it,
Revolver, yeah, of course. But yeah, if you gave me Revolver or White Album, I'd really think about it. But I think I'd choose Revolver just because I'm like, there's so much. It's just so long.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
which I think for some people they might like because it's like, oh, it's so much Beatles. So anyway,
Mm,
Yellow
very
Submarine.
fair. Yellow Submarine.
Um,
Famously, I think this album was leftover. Like this actually is leftover songs. These were leftover songs. The
yeah,
first four songs, sorry, five songs, actually, apart from Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love that have already been on albums before,
yeah,
only a Northern Song, Altogether Now, Hey Bulldog, It's All Too Much. They were songs that the band didn't like and they didn't know what to do.
yeah,
And then George Martin just composed a whole lot of classical music to put to put in there,
yeah. I haven't really listened to this that much because to me, I view it as like, oh, it's a soundtrack for the movie more so than an album.
which is exactly what it
Um,
is, to be honest, with
yeah,
random songs thrown at the start of it,
yeah. I will be honest. I've never really listened to the other half or the like what George Martin composed because I mean I like sometimes listening to like video game music or movie music, but you've got to be really in the mood to listen to that sort of
Oh,
stuff.
what? So you've never really given it a proper
I
go?
have listened to it, but I think because I haven't seen the film, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like I can't see what's going on because with like video game music or movie music, like more so of movie music, I can see the scene playing in my head. Like if I was to play Lord of the Rings music, you could probably see the scene that's going on.
Yeah,
Whereas if I just because I haven't seen the film, when I play it, I've got no visual. I know it's weird, but that's how my brain works. Like I need to
I
be able
see
to
it.
see the scene. But
I see it more so just as music. I don't even even though I have seen most
yeah,
of the Yellow Submarine movie, I'd never think about the
yeah,
movie. I just think about the music itself.
yeah. I do like
Personally,
March of the Meanies though. I think that's pretty cool. But um,
March of the Meanies.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't really have a lot. I really like Hey Bulldog. I think that's a pretty goofy, fun song. It all together now is also goofy, but I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this album. It's I don't know.
I like Only a Northern Song. It's genuinely a
Yeah,
really good song. I think George.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
it is a weird album. They reused Yellow Submarine.
We already
Funny,
know my thoughts
funny
on
for you.
that. So
And they reused All You Need Is Love, and then threw in so the Beatles themselves didn't like this album. I know that. I know
yeah.
that for a fact.
Um,
Um,
I don't even know where to place this. It'd either be Chapman's Aim or Ringo. Like it'd be around there. I feel.
you reckon? I think we've established that I like this album more than you do. But
Oh, absolutely.
even I'm gonna say, I think it belongs in definitely the last two as a Beatles album itself because there's four original songs and one, two, three, four, five, six, seven kind of snippets, or actually
Instrumental.
not snippets, like yeah, classical elements from the music from the movie. And it's not. I can just imagining. I can imagine being being the age we are now in 1969 when
Yeah,
this came out, and going, oh, classical and Yellow
yeah.
Submarine again.
Especially it coming out. just after the White Album as well.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
think about the fact it was sandwiched between the White Album and Abbey
and
Road
Abbey
as well.
Road. Jesus.
Yeah. Um,
People
I
must have shit themselves on Abbey Road came like, oh my God, please don't be another year. And then it's
no,
still, oh,
I
thank God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I don't think this album should be in the same tier as the others because it is different for the sake of the fact that, as you said, it is a soundtrack, and the thing of I said how they were B-side songs that the band didn't want to use on a proper album. I am
Do
fine
we want,
putting it in Yoko personally.
I was about to say, do we want to throw it in Yoko Ono for a laugh?
I've got,
Yeah.
but a disclaimer. I have respect for this album for what it is. It's just
Mhm.
it is not one that you put on to jam out to.
Yeah.
You could play the individual songs themselves, as in
Yeah.
the first six. But
Yeah. I
I'm
think
sorry.
whenever I've listened to it, I obviously skip the other side. I usually hit early in the Northern song, let it play through to All You Need Is Love, and I think I usually just stop it there. It's usually what I do. I don't really listen to the other half.
I love classical music as well, but
Yeah.
it just I just don't think it belongs on a Beatles album. But then again, the Beatles are one of the most experimental bands in the world. Like maybe it's a good thing that they have literally everything there is, apart from obviously metal
Yeah.
and country. But well, actually, they probably have some country elements to some of their songs early on.
No, can't think of anything.
Even Rocky Raccoon on the White Album, maybe some maybe some crossovers there, but it's
Mm.
not solely a country song. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I feel really bad about putting it there. Actually, you know what? Can we at least put it here because I don't I it's not supposed to be seen as
Yeah. That's fine.
okay. All right.
I want it in the Yoko tier just for a laugh to at least have something in there, but I'm happy
All
with
right.
it there. That's fine.
No,
It doesn't.
no, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
I don't know. It's just like we probably would actually put it like neck around the Beatles for sale area, but
Yep.
just for a laugh, we're gonna put it on the Yoko Ono because it's just like we don't know. I think like the Beatles themselves, we don't know what to do with it. So
Yep.
all right, but on to amazing stuff. Abbey Road. Um, I'm not sure if I spoke about it when I spoke about it in my favorite albums, but this and Sgt. Pepper are the ones I go back and forth on for my favorite. It goes back and forth a lot. I love it. I mean, it's Abbey Road, man. It's
Yep.
I think you could probably comfortably say it's the greatest last album from band ever. I know Let It Be came out afterwards, but this is the last thing they recorded together.
Yep.
Um,
It
I
should have been
can't,
their
I
last album.
can't, I can't think of any other band where their last album was even close to as amazing as this. Like it's like they just put the bow on their career, and it's just the
Yep.
perfect bow ever. Um,
That's majorly well put.
yeah.
100% agree.
But it's just like you listen to it, and it does sound like the end as well. Like, and I think I remember watching like the anthology documentary they did, and I can't remember who said it. It was like George. I think George Martin said it. I'm gonna give the credit to him if I'm wrong, whatever. But I think George said, I think why Abbey Road is as amazing as it is. I think they knew themselves, like I think they had this feeling of this is the end, and they said that I
Mm,
think because the amount of pressure they're under and the stress they would have gone through, they felt at ease, going, "This is the last thing we're going to do. Let's make it happy." And I think they said George, I think Ross was like when they're making it, the vibes was just so relaxed
mm,
because they
yep.
were going, "Well, this is the last thing we'll do. Let's have fun with it." And
That's what they
and
did.
I think that really comes out in the album as well because it's a very happy album, and it also does the medley at the end, um, like ending. Well, I was about to say ending the album with the end, but then got Her Majesty, which is Her Majesty is odd. I
Yeah.
think I've always had the running joke with you of Her Majesty just sounds like they actually finished the album and then one night, like Paul McCartney broke into Abbey Road Studios, hit record, and like stuck the song on. Like
Yeah.
it's such a
Yeah.
weird thing, but like for me, like I yeah, like the ending of the album is obviously the end.
Yep.
Um, like yeah, Golden Slumbers all the way through that is just peak Beatles, peak
Mhm.
songwriting. Um,
It's their most technical album, definitely.
yeah,
It's their showcase album, which they left for last. I mean, obviously they had glimpses, not sorry, not glimpses. They expressed themselves throughout their entire career, but this album is definitely peak instrumentation of all of them.
yeah,
Harmonies,
yeah,
vocals themselves, drums come together, bass,
yeah,
something, songwriting something. Uh,
yeah.
John,
George Harrison is amazing on this album.
I Want You, She's So Heavy. Like that was
Oh,
another experimental thing as well that John did. But
yeah.
there's, yeah, there's a lot to say and to have respect for this album.
Has your opinion changed with I Want You?
The fact that it's in the same tier as While My Guitar Gently Weeps for me.
Yeah, because I remember you said you didn't dislike it, but you're like to it. You weren't too
It's
fond of it.
Yeah, that's my other thing I'm scared to say as well.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it slightly more than While My Guitar Gently Weeps, but for some reason it's just a song that again I see why people love it. I give it respect. I even respect it as a song, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
just not. It's just
I,
not
I
one of my top listens for
yeah,
me.
I love the second half of the song where it builds like this static comes in and then it just
To
cuts
be
off
fair,
and then
that is good.
and then here comes the sun comes in. It's so cool.
It it's been it's been debated as well whether this was the inspiration for metal itself, whether it was the first metal song, even though Helter Skelter was the first for that.
I
But
I don't know.
I Want You, She's So Heavy. Like, no, I do.
I think the first metal thing was Black Sabbath. I
Yeah, well,
don't like
they were definitely the ones that carried it on,
Beatles. Yes,
carried
gonna
it
say
forward.
Beatles get enough praise for things. I don't know. I've never liked the whole Beatles invented metal. I'm like, no, they didn't. I'm giving that the credit to Mr. Tony Iommi. You got to. The
Yeah, I
man
mean that could be a
sacrificed two
full.
of his fingers, man. Like,
That
or
could be
tips
a
of
good
two of his
debate
fingers, but
episode, to be honest.
yeah. No, I'm happy to give Beatles all the praise uh, in the world, but I don't. It doesn't feel right to be like, oh yeah, they invented metal. No, they didn't. I'm sorry, they didn't. Black Sabbath
Okay.
did.
I mean,
Anyway,
there are elements in there
but
that no one was doing. I Want You, She's So Heavy. Who was making 8 minute songs with like a 4 minute instrumental at the end where it just was a pretty heavy riff. But again, you're right. I mean, they weren't the ones that
but
directly. Yeah.
would you consider "I Want You" a metal song?
No, of course not. But
Yeah.
it draws inspiration. That's what the Beatles did with most of their things. They allowed
Mm,
inspiration to be drawn from their tracks. Um,
that's fair. It's just like call them a I wouldn't call it a metal song or Helter Skelter.
no,
I will say they're
no,
heavier, obviously, but
yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's metal. Master of
it's not
Puppets, I
metal.
Want
No,
You. Like, no.
Slayer,
Yeah, yeah,
anything
Rain
Slayer
in
have
Blood,
released,
Helter Skelter. Yeah,
Cannibal
absolutely.
Corpse. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is yeah,
I
without a doubt going into importance as well.
Oh,
It's a no-brainer.
it's just a matter of where it goes. I honestly, wherever you want it to
I
be from here and there, I will agree
I
with
I was
because
gonna say I
I can.
think I'd put it in front of Revolver.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. I'd put it.
I just think you summed it up so well. It's the perfect bow on top of an amazing
Yeah,
career.
career.
Yeah. Fun fact about this album as well. I read the other night. It was original. I don't know if you know this. It was originally going to be called Everest, based
Oh,
on it was going to be an inside joke because I forget who it was, but someone involved in the band smoked cigarettes branded Everest. I'm pretty sure that was the brand of cigarettes that someone smoked, and they had some running gag of Everest. They were originally going to go to Mount Everest in Nepal to for the album cover, take a photo there, but Paul didn't want to, so they didn't
I don't
go.
blame him.
Yeah. George, John,
Jesus.
and Ringo were like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, let's just go to Nepal to take the album cover." So they ended up changing their mind and just went outside, like a meter away from the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Actually, uh, yeah, I'm so glad I did that. This is one of the most iconic album covers of
turned
all
into it
time, and obviously to this
majorly.
day, people still walk across it. You bastard, your family have obviously walked across there when you did your trip. You makes me angry. I want to get to do that one day.
Oh,
I
you
really want
will.
to visit Abbey Road and that. Actually, the thought, literally, this is the first time I've ever had this thought, but saying about like a whole bow and the end of the career, like you can even interpret the album as them walking away from the studio, like we're done, we're leaving, like because I know the studio's on the
They
left side, so they're walking away from it. So
100%. I was about to say that. Yeah, they yeah,
yeah,
exactly right.
it's them walking away, going, we're done, we're out. So
Oh,
I don't know,
that's
that's the
emotional.
first time
Yeah.
ever I've ever thought of the album in that way. It just I
What
don't
an
know, I
emotional
don't know.
way to, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great way of putting it. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
I also know that, I forgot. Actually, no, don't worry. I was going to say someone thought something was the best love song ever written, but I forget who said it. So I'm not gonna delve into it.
I
But
mean,
don't worry about it.
it is. It'd be one of the greatest love songs ever written. And that's
Probably
another
is.
song I remember we covered as well. I remember that went off
Yeah.
really well as well.
That did go well actually. It's just
Yeah,
such a fun bass line to play. Honestly, I
yeah,
love Paul McCartney as a bass player. He flies under the radar so often, but I love his bass lines. They're so good.
yeah. Love that.
Okay,
All right, let it be. Final one.
their final
Um,
album.
it's sort of weird to listen to this album, especially after Abbey Road. Like when I listen to albums in order, I usually listen to Let It Be before Abbey Road because it feels like the correct way to listen to it. Because if you go to Abbey Road to
Mm,
this, it's a bit like oh. Whereas like I
mm.
said, like listening to Abbey Road, it just feels so final. It feels so complete. Um, but I do, yeah, I really do like Let It Be. Um,
It's different in a way that because it's Phil Spector that produced it, not
George,
George
yeah,
Martin. So
yeah,
there's people say that he butchered it. I don't really know. I don't really think so. I mean, I think it's I've always thought Let It Be. This might be why you thought The Long and Winding Road was on the White Album. I've always thought Let It Be kind of sounds a bit like the White Album,
yeah,
the entire
yeah.
album,
There's
like
elements of it.
everything on it. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
So I feel like it's kind of White Album 2.0, personally.
yeah.
It's nothing like Abbey Road, in my opinion.
No. Um,
Um,
having the Get Back documentary as well.
oh,
It was really cool and to watch them sort of work through this. Like, um, to see like it's genuinely one of the coolest pieces of footage I've ever seen. Watching Paul Wright get back, he's just sitting there, and he's just strumming on his Hofner, and he's sort of like humming basically like early bits of the melody, and
yep.
I was just like, wow, like I think it's just I think Peter Jackson put it beautifully of like we've always in our brains like this song has always existed to think at some point this song didn't exist and to watch that moment unfold is just like he's like he's
Mm.
like he's like it was like gold. And I was like, yeah, that's actually an excellent way of putting it, Peter.
I'm
Then
gonna
like I'm saying it
rewatch
like I
Get
know
Back.
him. Yeah, I want to watch it
Actually,
as well.
yeah, it's
Or
3 hours
6 hours,
long, so
yeah.
6 hours, yeah,
Isn't
which
it?
is classic Peter
Yeah,
Jackson though,
Peter
to be honest.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no one else I'd rather want to direct it. What you mean, 3 part, 2 hour movie documentary movie thing? Yeah, no worries. Just sign me up.
Michael
It's king
Bay
of that.
probably would have done a pretty good job, I reckon.
Hmm. Same as Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino take on.
The Beatles.
I'd pay to see that, to be honest.
That's a crossover and a half.
Yeah. Well, Scorsese did 64. He produced 64, the one
Yeah,
that came out last month.
yeah.
But
Pretty tame for a Scorsese film. Not enough deaths.
there's only also two F words as well, which is also very tame for Scorsese too.
No. Oh yeah.
Paul says one, and someone else says one. Yeah,
Naughty
naughty
boy.
boy. Yeah.
Naughty, naughty. Um,
This album though, I it's got "Let It Be" on there, which is arguably the most famous Beatles song.
did you guys know this song came to Paul in a dream? I don't know if he's ever told that story or not.
No, I feel like that's flown under the radar, hasn't
Yeah,
it? That
dude.
and yesterday, wasn't it?
So Let It Be was his mum came to him in a dream he wrote Let It Be, but yesterday the melody came to his like he had the melody come to him and the chords and all that.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for the amount of times Paul's had to tell the story of how he wrote Let It Be. Oh my God. It does my head in. Like I love watching Paul interviews because I love the way he speaks and the way he speaks about the Beatles, but I
Hmm.
want to say like 90 to 95. I don't know why this song in particular, but he gets asked so often. So how'd you write Let It Be? It's such a beautiful song. And it's like, he's only been telling the story for the last 60 years. Are you paying attention? Oh my God. The poor
It's
man.
also it's also the public's fault that he's asking it that much as well because
Oh.
it's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know why "Let It Be" in particular is.
Yeah, why? How'd you write that one? This is like ask
Yeah,
in any other song. Any other song.
I want
And
to
you'd be
know
like,
how.
like Ticket to Ride was written or something. Like, oh, something like that.
Yeah,
How did Hard Day's Night come about? I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Well, I know the title for Hard Day's Night came about because Ringo stuffed up his words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hard Day's Night. Well, because it's an oxymoron. Hard Day's Night. Same
Yeah,
with
well,
Eight
true.
Days a Week.
Yeah.
I think 8 days a week is another Ringo one because I think he said something like we're working so hard it feels like we're working 8 days a week,
Hmm.
and that's something along those lines, and that's how that
Clever.
title came around. But
Actually, speaking of
um,
Ringo, one of the facts I read the other night,
yeah,
he he his house was bombed in World War II, apparently, when he wasn't living
right,
there. So apparently, I saw some article of saying like we were like a couple of days off the Beatles not progressing without Ringo. If he was living in the house when, uh, actually, it was more of a a clickbait thumbnail. It said something like Nazis almost killed almost killed Ringo, which is technically right. It was the Germans flying the planes that bombed the house, but it was just such. I it worked. I
yeah,
clicked on
you
that
clicked
video
on it.
so hard.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Nazis almost killed Ringo. What? What? Where's
You
this going to go?
have to click on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Just imagining.
You're going to be off track. Let it
Okay,
be.
yeah,
Where would we where would we play? I back to the
um,
album. I think we need to do some concentrating.
yeah.
Um, um, yeah, anyway.
Don't.
I would play this. Yeah, I was gonna say in Reliance on Drugs, but above or below Rubber Soul. I think you're behind Rubber Soul. I feel yeah.
I'm
I'm happy.
definitely behind Rubber Soul
I'm happy with that. Yeah, yeah,
because it's got some great songs like Across the Universe. I mean, mine's a bit weird, but I don't
yeah,
know. It's also got the don't let me down. Should have been on this album, but for some reason it wasn't.
yeah,
I don't know why. They just played
yeah,
it on the rooftop concert and never really included it. It's on
yeah,
Past Masters, which we were going to include Past Masters originally, but they're technically best
yeah,
ofs, aren't they? So
yeah. It's just yeah. It feels like a greatest hits almost kind of
yeah,
album. So
yeah,
it was a
exactly
bit
right.
hard. Um, but the German version of "She Loves You" does go hard. She liked it. She lipped it.
She lip dick, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not even going to pronounce I want to hold your hand. I can't remember what that one
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad album at all. I people people hate it because it wasn't George Martin, but I think that's just a bit sour and salty towards
Yeah.
him not being there. I feel like that's just people being unfair to Phil Spector, who had no choice but to be the producer, and
Yeah.
they were on their way out. I don't. It it it's weird to say, even though we put it so high, but it wouldn't have been a big deal if Let It Be never actually existed in the first place.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah.
But then again, we wouldn't Paul wouldn't have the story of how he
Oh my God.
how he wrote it, how it came to him in a dream. He
Every
wouldn't be able to
time,
tell that story.
every time I feel so bad. I'm like, you poor man.
I feel like if I ever met him in person, I
Oh,
would make sure
yeah.
I ask just
Oh,
to
how'd you
just
ever
to
let
really
it
piss him
be?
off. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
No,
my God.
I think we've done well. Actually,
I'm very happy
before
with
we
this.
finish
Yeah.
it off, are we happy with the rankings themselves slash the tiers that they're on?
Yes, actually, I'm perfectly fine with that.
It's funny that it goes down in the size of albums in the tiers as well. There's more in top tier than not, which is amazing for a band to have
Yeah.
that. Even
I
though
knew you go.
I would argue that
Sorry.
is in that tier as well. I would argue that I would argue Rubber Soul is up there somewhere too. But
I just. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think
actually,
it. Yeah.
come to come to think of it, if the White Album is up there, then in my opinion, Rubber Soul should be as well. But I'm going to leave it because we did well with what
Yeah.
we were given. I think so.
Yeah. We'll
That's
put
fine.
in our own personal rankings.
Yeah, let's do that.
But I'm very very happy with that.
Yeah,
I think that's
I think
pretty
we did
good.
well. I the Metallica episode ended up being longer than what we thought. I think this one's going to be longer than we thought as well.
No,
But
yeah.
there's so much to say. Like, what are we going
Yeah.
to do? We got a random comment the other day saying that imagine taking an hour 15 to talk about
Then
11 albums.
Metallica.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but
this I reckon this is gonna end up about two for
close
13. I
to
think
it.
there is four, four,
Yeah,
seven,
13
yeah,
onwards. Yeah.
13. Yeah. Are you keeping Yellow Submarine down there? Because I know you want that a bit higher.
I think it needs to be. Yeah, I think this is what mine would be. Yellow Submarine needs to be down there because it's different to the other albums on purpose as well. So I feel like it needs to be in a separate category to an album where they actually like with the Beatles. I feel bad as well that with the Beatles is by itself, but genuinely I don't enjoy it as much as the others. I think it's of their non-Yellow Submarine albums. I think it is my least favorite, which is saying something because I love their version of Please Mr. Postman and I love Till There Was You and It Won't Be Long.
Yeah.
The great songs,
Yeah.
but it's a bit samey
Yeah.
uh, to Please Me and Hard Day's Night, and I just don't enjoy it as much as the other two.
There's nothing
I
distinct about it to me.
No,
It doesn't
exactly
it
right.
doesn't have it doesn't have its own like identity.
Yeah, 100%. These two are interchangeable, just like these two are interchangeable. Abbey Road, funnily enough, has never been my favorite album by them, but
Really?
it's always been an album that I've thought is their best at one point or at some point or
Yeah.
another. Absolutely. Anyone is wrong if they think that Abbey Road is not arguably their best.
Yeah. Or one of them at least, yeah.
How do I feel about doing that? Actually, not very good.
That's I was gonna say, that's a big call.
I'm gonna put it back.
Wow. That's a
These
big call.
three these three are tricky. This could almost be in Reliance on Drugs because as I said before, I just think it's the perfect transition. Um, you know what? That's it. I feel good about that. Don't know why, but I feel good about it. Yes, yes, yes. Yep, done. Right, what's yours?
Yeah, Beatles without Yoko Ono, 100%. I'm sorry. I just sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's funny to be honest.
Um,
What do you want it above Yellow Submarine or?
yes. Oh no, no, swap them actually. Swap them. I
I was
actually,
gonna
yeah,
say, yeah.
yeah, no, no, no. For some reason, there's a small, tiny, tiny, tiny bit of me that wants to put "Let It Be" down into Chapman's Eve
Really?
in front of Hard Day's Night. I don't know why.
I'll do it and see how you feel about
Yeah.
seeing it there. How you
No.
feel
Yeah.
about
Put
it?
it back. Put it
No.
back. That feels wrong. Put it
Yeah, right.
back. I'm happy with that.
Happy with that? Okay.
I'm very, very happy with that. Yeah. Yeah. So that'd be my ranking. Which I feel is pretty same as like a Metallica one. I think it's very similar to what we ended up with. Um,
That says more about
uh,
me. Maybe I'm the one with controversial opinions,
yeah, I think you
which
are. But
which
bro,
makes
I put
sense.
Beatles for Sales in Yoko Ono.
You did.
I think that's
I
pretty controversial.
when I put it down there as well, I put it down accidentally in here, and you also
Yeah,
didn't say anything either, which proves
I wasn't.
how
Yeah,
much you don't like it.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, I really don't care for the album that much. Like I said, there's a few songs on there I like, but I very rarely listen to it. Put it this way: on my phone, I have all the albums downloaded except for this one. I have it added to library, but I actually have it on downloaded onto the phone. It's the only one. That's how little I care for
Even
it.
even Yellow Submarine.
Yes.
You've got Yellow Submarine downloaded too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. But I
Mate.
will acknowledge, like, if I had to listen between Yellow Submarine and Beatles for Sale, I'm like, okay, yeah, Beatles for Sale. Just because there's probably more I can get out of it, but it's just
Yeah.
I need to like give it another. You know what? I'll listen to it. Oh, God, do I want to? I'll listen to it today. How about that?
Did you not listen to it
I'll
before we did
No,
this?
I sort of skimmed through the song. I just couldn't.
Right.
I just know I don't like it. I just
Genuinely, I don't think it's as bad as what you were making it out to be, but
I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it
it's
doesn't
an
click for me.
it's an
It doesn't make me feel anything. It
it's an
just
opinion. It's fine. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I would much rather listen to Beatles for Sale over many other albums. But in terms of Beatles albums, look at the other albums, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Well,
know,
this
like
is yeah, exactly right. I mean,
yeah. So
this isn't on the scale of music in general, even though
yeah,
from here up would be
yeah.
on any bloody on music in general tier would be they would all be high up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's funny enough because from Please Me upwards is when I go on a list of the Beatles, they're usually the albums I'm checking out. With the Beatles and Beatles, so I don't really, and Yellow Submarine, I don't really dabble much with it. With the Beatles, every once in a while, but I usually am like, oh, I'll listen to like some of the songs I like, but then that's about it.
yeah,
I don't
same
know, it
with me.
doesn't,
Yeah,
yeah, but the other, was it like the other 10, always the ones like I will go through and listen to all of them. So,
absolutely,
um,
absolutely. You were debating putting Let It Be down here as well in
mm.
front of Hard Day's Night, and then
Yeah.
as soon as I put it there, you changed your mind,
Yeah,
which I
I
thought
know.
was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know because I'm like, oh, is it? Because I think in my brain, I'm like, is it as good as Magical Mystery Tour? And I'm like, well, it's not, but it's
Hmm.
it's not as on the level as Hard Day's Night. So I think I would rank it closer to Magical Mystery Tour than Hard Day's Night.
Fair, fair.
So
Rightio. Well, should we keep it there?
yeah, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Uh, I was gonna say sorry for this being like probably like 2 hours long, but I'm not. I like talking about the Beatles, and I like talking to Jordan. So yeah, put up with the 2 hours. And thank you. Well, I shouldn't be that harsh because if I've made it this far, actually, thank you for watching and thank you for listening. But I do not apologize for the length. That's what. Um,
I'm ending it right here. Okay. Goodbye.